My dad's business rivalry has me puncturing tires at midnight. Just as I finished a job, a handsome guy stepped out of a Maserati, pointed at the flat tire, and said, "I think you got the wrong car," during the new year. My dad found out his rival's warehouse had outsold ours by 2 shipments. He was so furious his beard practically bristled. After leaving negative comments on the rival's social media, he still wasn't satisfied. Following a few sarcastic blessings and a passive-aggressive rant, he turned to me and said, You want to see a real business war in action?" I thought about it and asked, outmaneuvering the enemy with strategy. My dad's awkward laugh told me something was off. The most high-stakes business wars often require the simplest methods. After all, my dad, he said, cut off their funding, make it hard for their business to run, or pull their power during the day, puncture their tires at night. My dad, poach their star CEO, lure away their top tech staff, and their cleaning crew too. My dad proudly gave me a thumbs up. That's my daughter, me. Is this really a business war? My dad shot me a look that said, "Figure it out yourself. Just answer me, is it a business war or not? Remember when Coca-Cola and Pepsi fought? Wasn't it just about knocking over each other's bottles and ads? What we're doing is covert operations. Well, I guess that counts. Then tonight's tire puncturing mission is all yours, sweetheart." Me? Just like that? For the sake of my New Year's red envelope, I wrapped myself in my pajamas, grabbed a small nail, and headed out. Helping my dad with his business wars is something I've done since I was little. Back then, my mission was to trample the rival company's lawn. According to my mom, my dad and Uncle Shen were once as close as brothers. They started a business together from scratch, but later, they split over differences in how to run things. Now they each run one of the biggest companies in City A, yet every time they meet, they still glare at each other. When I was little, my dad once took me to sneak into Uncle Shen's factory to take photos. We got caught by security and were covered in flour. Not one to back down, my dad found a gossip account to expose Uncle Shen's factory for cutting corners. Uncle Shen retaliated by having someone cut our internet cable. The two still occasionally leave sarcastic comments on each other's social media. You could dip a cup of plain water into their comment sections and pull out a cup of vinegar. By the time I shuffled into the underground garage in my fluffy slippers, it was completely dark. The garage was dimly lit. According to my dad, Uncle Shen just bought a new luxury car, one you couldn't miss. Seeing no one around, I headed straight for the Maserati. Such a nice car. What a shame. I tiptoed over and pressed a nail into the tire. For some reason, I felt guilty. Blame my dad for making me do this. "Uncle Shen, if you're going to be mad at my dad." He told me to do it. Just as I was about to leave, a handsome guy stepped out of the Maserati. He was wearing a baseball jacket, with sharp features and fair skin. A faint scent of gardenia drifted toward me. He tilted his head, looking at me as if deep in thought. Me? Who is this guy? A high-frequency alarm went off in my head. Did I puncture the wrong tire? The guy smiled and said, I think you got the wrong car. I wanted to cry. This soft, cute guy was totally my type. Why did I have to ruin my own chance with him? Embarrassed, I forced a smile. "How about I pay for the damage?" He didn't reply, just kept looking at me quietly. He probably knew I couldn't afford it. Feeling helpless, I called my hopeless dad. Because I've been single for so long, my dad froze all my cards half a month ago. As soon as he picked up, he sounded thrilled. "Sweetie, how'd it go?" "Dad, I saw a really handsome guy in the garage." My dad got excited. "How old is he? Where's he from? Is he married? Did you make a move? Can we recruit him as an asset? I mean, a son-in-law?" Me. God knows how loud my speaker was. My face turned as red as a monkey's bottom. I glanced up shyly at the cute guy. He was still looking at me. Maybe it was my imagination, but his gaze seemed almost tender. He looked like he'd stepped out of a painting. I quickly lowered my head and spoke into the phone to hide my nervousness. "Dad, I punctured the wrong car. It was someone else's." There was a moment of silence on the other end. "It's okay. You did your best. Worst case, just bring him home. Daddy will handle it." I silently gave my dad a thumbs up. "It's a Maserati." As soon as I said it, the line went dead. Beep, beep. He hung up. Thumbs up revoked. An adult's composure can shatter in an instant, and I was about to lose mine. I tried to send him a WeChat message, only to find he'd blocked me there too. Hilarious. Such a deep father-daughter bond. Left with no choice, I turned back to the handsome guy and apologized. I'm really sorry. Can I pay in installments? He smiled at me, leaned in, and said, Sure. That smile practically melted my heart. I continued, My name is Sang Yue. What's yours? Not that I was trying to get too familiar, but calling him handsome guy over and over felt a bit awkward. When shies, he took a step closer, and I suddenly remembered I was still in my fluffy pajamas. I felt a little embarrassed. When shies asked me, Were you supposed to puncture the tires of the Shen family's chairman? I nodded. You too? When shies didn't he confirm or deny it? I'll take you to his car. There have been several rounds of people tonight. I happen to know which one is his. I thought about it if I could complete the mission successfully. Maybe my dad would reimburse me. So I cheerfully pulled the nail out of the tire. I followed Wen Shies to a Land Rover. This is his car. I was about to puncture a random spot when I noticed the two front tires were already full of holes. So I moved to the back. I didn't forget to smile at Wen Shies. The front's full. I'll go to the back. Wait for me. When I got to the rear, I found the tires there were also packed with nails. No choice, I stuck my nail into the spare tire on the back and took a photo as proof. Then I pulled out another nail from the tire and handed it to Wen Shies. You're here to puncture his tires too, right? Here's a nail for you. No need to thank me. Wen Shies glanced at it, his lips twitching slightly, looking somewhat helpless. He said to me, Thanks. I patted his shoulder. Don't mention it. We're friends. After he finished, I went ahead and added him on WeChat. Then something occurred to me. Wait, how did you know this was his car? Wen Shies said, This is my dad's car. Your dad? I stood there like an idiot, utterly confused by the wind. Then why didn't he stop me earlier? I'd punctured his car, and then his dad's car. Just thinking about it made me want to crawl into a hole. Wen Shies seemed to sense my embarrassment. It's fine. His tires get punctured often. Uncle Shen's popularity might be a bit low, huh? My brain moved faster than my mouth, and the words just stumbled out. Only after speaking did I realize it might have been inappropriate. Wen Shies didn't seem bothered by the comment. He looked at the punctured Land Rover and said, This car was bought specifically for people to puncture, especially for puncturing. That's next level. Just thinking about it hurt my wallet. Poverty really does limit one's imagination. As if reading my mind, he continued, It's okay. All the cars in this area belong to my dad. He doesn't mind. I looked at the rows of luxury cars parked to his left and my jaw dropped. So freaking rich. No wonder my dad and Uncle Shen fell out. My dad must have been too stingy. Buying a car but being too frugal to drive it. Taking the subway to work as a chairman, that's a first. To save money, he even live streams and sells products himself, serving as his own brand ambassador. Meanwhile, Uncle Shen hires plenty of celebrity influencers to do his livestream sales. Seeing it was getting late, I turned to say goodbye and head home. Let me walk you home? Just as I turned, Wen Shies tugged at my cotton jacket. We'd just met. Why was he so familiar? My cheeks flushed, but Wen Shies acted as if nothing was out of the ordinary. Okay. The whole way, I was too awkward to say a word. Wen Shies did all the talking. When we were about to part, he asked me why I hadn't spoken. I wanted to, but having just punctured his family's cars, I felt guilty. Damn my dad. I'll pay you back. For your dad's car too. Wen Shies smiled. Just an That's it? Wen Shies shot back. What else do you want, sis? You didn't say a word the whole way. I thought you didn't like me. The sudden sis made me blush. And with that faint look of disappointment on his face, paired with the teardrop mole at the corner of his eye, he looked genuinely pitiful. Before I could respond, Wen Shies pulled me toward him and wrapped me inside his baseball jacket. The crisp scent of gardenia washed over me. Held in his arms, my mind went blank. I could clearly hear his heart pounding. When I regained my senses, I quickly pushed him away. There was a car passing by just now. Didn't want water splashing on you, sis. I looked at the ferocious mud splatters on his baseball jacket and realized just how close the call had been. I thanked him. As I stepped into the yard, I heard voices arguing near the front door. Getting closer, I realized it was Uncle Shen and my dad having a spat. Sang-woo, why are you stealing my Spring Festival couplets during the New Year? It's not stealing. Your couplets are just too ugly. I wanted to replace them for you. With that, my dad pulled out a handwritten red couplet and handed it to Uncle Shen. On it, in crooked calligraphy, it read, Heaven adds years, people add pounds. Spring fills the world, pigs fill the gate. Wasn't that the one my dad had me write for fun? He said we'd hang it at the door to ward off ghosts. I was about to stick it on your door, but you came back too early. The two of them went back and forth, arguing fiercely, completely unaware of my presence. Just then, a beautiful woman in a chic tweed suit walked in behind me. She had wavy hair, striking red lips, and a curvaceous figure. She looked me up and down. You must be you, right? You've grown so much. Even prettier than in the photos. She affectionately pinched my cheek. I looked at the woman and smiled. Have we met before, sis? My mom, hearing the noise, came over and gently pushed me aside. She excitedly hugged the beautiful woman. Wen Qian, you're back. My dad and Uncle Shen stood on either side, arms crossed, ignoring each other. When the moment felt right, I tugged at my mom's sleeve. I whispered, Mom, you know her. My mom tapped my forehead lightly. This is your Auntie Wen. You got the generation wrong. Hurry up and greet her properly. Hello, Auntie. Auntie Wen was impeccably maintained. She didn't look a day over 30. It was hard to believe she had a son my age. I'd always heard my mom talk about Auntie Wen, reminiscing about their close friendship. But Auntie Wen had been abroad for scientific research and hadn't returned in years. With so much time passed, my childhood memories of her had long faded. I came back specially to bring you New Year's gifts and visit you all. Auntie Wen held my mom's hands but kept glancing at me. It made me feel a bit uneasy, almost shy. As she spoke, Auntie Wen asked my dad and Uncle Shen to help unload the gifts. Then she pulled a red envelope from her Hermes bag and handed it to me. This is you use New Year's money. I hesitated to take it until my mom nodded. Inside was a bank card, with the pin set as my birthday. Thank you, Auntie Wen. Auntie, how did you know my birthday? Have you seen my photo? Auntie Wen paused, then smiled. Your mom told me. My mom was about to say something when Auntie Wen pulled her aside. They whispered for a bit, and when they came back, both looked at me strangely. Auntie Wen's arrival livened up the house. My mom and Auntie Wen sat on the sofa catching up. My dad and Uncle Shen just glared at each other in silence. It wasn't tea until Auntie Wen took the couplet I'd written that things finally settled down. After they left, I immediately told my dad about what happened in the underground garage. I showed him the photo as proof. Dad, I completed the mission perfectly. Can you reimburse me now? It's a Maserati. I can't afford it. He just pouted and stayed silent. So stubborn. It took a lot of tea serving, back rubbing, and shoulder massaging to finally coax him into a better mood. My dad looked at me with a proud little expression. He pulled a black card from his wallet and handed it to me. Daughters are the best at dad's little padded jacket. Not like that Shen guy, who only has a stinky son. Next time, we'll team up and really show them what we're made of. Hearing Wen Shi's name, I paused for a second. I tried subtly fishing for information about him from my dad, but the old man just kept circling back to his old grudges with Uncle Shen. To save my ears from going numb, I quickly handed the battlefield over to my mom. Back in my room, I collapsed onto my beanbag chair. I pulled out the bank card Auntie Wen had given me. The balance was 1,000,000. I counted the decimal places on my fingers. 1 million. Do people really give that much as New Year's money? Before I could process it, a WeChat notification popped up. It was from Wen Shi's. Wen Shi's? Sis, are you asleep? Looking at the chat window, I felt a little flutter of joy. I finally typed 2 words. Not yet. Then came a long stretch of silence and empty screen. I kept seeing typing on his end and wondered if my phone was glitching. I decided to break the ice first. How much do I owe you? I have money now. Wen Shi's didn't reply with words instead. He sent a trending meme. It showed a little character bending over with a wallet in its mouth, hands forming a heart. The text read, I have money, but I won't spend it, I'll save it for my wife. Then he quickly recalled it. Wen Shi's. My hand slipped. Wrong sticker. Followed by a sweating emoji. You won't be mad, right, sis? I wasn't mad. Just a little awkward. I replied with a string of ha 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 ha, and added, my ex would have died laughing. There was a pause on the other end before he sent, you've broken up, sis? 6 months ago. Wen Shi's asked, why? Do you still love him? No particular reason. It was an amicable split. Then you really missed out. Wen Shi's sent a peace sign emoji. For some reason, he sounded a bit tea-ish. Maybe I'm just not in tune with how young people talk these days. To make up for it, I took the initiative and invited him to dinner. After ending the chat, I immediately told my best friend, Pei Shang, everything that had happened. After hearing it, Pei Shang sent a mischievous sticker. Wow, you've got range older and younger. Then she sent me a lady's etiquette guide and told me to seize the opportunity. I brushed it off with a few vague replies before falling asleep with my phone in hand. I even dreamed about Wen Shi's. When I woke up in the morning, My face was burning. On the day of our date, I made sure to dress up nicely. I put on a fresh, youthful makeup look and spent ages in my room getting ready. I even spritzed on some Chanel perfume before heading out. To my surprise, both my parents were standing at the door. They watched me like guards on duty. You, why are you dolled up like this? Got a date? No, I'm just going shopping with Zhang Yang. For some reason, I instinctively didn't tell my dad the truth. The two of them looked me up and down. Something's off, there's definitely something going on. Is it that handsome guy from the underground garage? My dad squinted at me, crow's feet crinkling at the corners of his eyes. I quickly turned to my mom for help. Only then did I manage to escape. When I arrived at the restaurant, I found Wen Shai's waiting for me outside the entrance. He'd even bought me a milk tea. He very naturally took my bag and slung it over his own shoulder. Aren't you cold, sis? You're dressed pretty light. As he spoke, he draped his coat over me. Was this a bit too intimate for only our second meeting? But looking into Wen Shai's clear, slightly clueless eyes, I realized I was overthinking it. I followed him into the restaurant. Maybe because Wen Shai's was too good looking, many girls along the way kept snapping photos with their phones. One bold girl even ran up to me and asked, "Sis, is your brother single? Can I get his WeChat?" Looking at the prize that was almost within my grasp, I felt a twinge of jealousy. Wen Shai stepped in front of me and said, "No and no," the girl pressed on. "Then what's your relationship? Are you two dating?" Wen Shai's didn't answer directly. Instead, he turned to me and asked, "Sis, what is our relationship?" Under Wen Shai's intense gaze, I felt like a roast goose sizzling over a fire. After a long pause, I squeezed out, "Good friends." The girl wanted to ask more, but one sharp look from Wen Shai sent her scurrying away. Once we were seated in the private room, just as we were about to start eating, I heard voices outside the door. I glanced at Wen Shai's. Wen Shai's got up and opened the door. We found my mom and Auntie Wen pressed against the wall outside. My dad stood to the side with a dark expression, while Uncle Shen was grinning from ear to ear. Wen Shai's and I stared at each other wide-eyed. Neither of us had any idea what was going on. I asked, "Dad, Mom, what are you doing here?" Before my mom could speak, my dad grumbled unhappily. The prize cabbage is about to be snatched by a pig, and I, the father, didn't even know. Hearing my dad say that, my face flushed bright red. We weren't even officially together yet. Wen Shai's, however, remained unfazed. He politely offered my dad the seat of honor. I'd never seen anyone bring their parents on a date before. I was so embarrassed. I could only stare down at my plate, poking at it with my chopsticks, occasionally stealing glances at Wen Shai's. Every time, I'd meet his direct, unwavering gaze, I'd quickly look away, my heart pounding like a startled deer. Just then, my phone buzzed with a message from Wen Shai's. "Sis, is the food not to your taste?" Wen Shai's and I chatted intermittently until I was suddenly put on the spot. My mom had just brought up my ex-boyfriend. I hurriedly tried to stop her. Auntie Wen seemed to remember something and exclaimed excitedly, "No wonder Shai's suddenly came back to China. It's because you broke up." I looked up at Wen Shai's. Did he return because of me? Did we know each other before? I always thought these two were meant to be. If we'd arranged a childhood betrothal back then, we wouldn't have had to go through so many twists and turns. My mom agreed. But the happier my mom sounded, the darker my dad's expression grew. Uncle Shen, meanwhile, struggled to hold back his laughter. Do you remember when you were little? You even held Shai's once." Being put on the spot by my mom felt like an electric shock. "Mom, why are you bringing that up?" I was so embarrassed I could have dug out a 3-bedroom apartment with my bare hands. I took a sip of juice to calm my nerves. But my mom continued, "What's there to be shy about? You even gave Shai's a bath when you were little." I felt like a boiled duck. How could I not remember any of this? And there was a scorching gaze fixed on me from beside me, as if asking, "Is that true?" Wen Shai's didn't seem embarrassed at all. Instead, he asked curiously, "Really? I don't remember any of that. You were only 1 or 2 at the time. While we weren't home, your Yuji secretly put you in a tub of flour. She said she was giving you a bath." Wen Shai's, never one to miss a chance to stir the pot, added fuel to the fire. "I think sis didn't want to give me a bath, she wanted to eat me." Then, in front of everyone, he placed a piece of foie gras on my plate. My dad immediately picked it up and put it in his own bowl. He said sorely, "Tastes pretty good." My mom pinched my dad's waist and continued, "An older wife brings good fortune. Shai's, would you like some good fortune?" The room fell silent. I clutched my phone, not daring to look up. unsure why I was so nervous. Then I heard Wen Shai's say, "That depends on whether the good fortune is willing to be held." After hearing Wen Shai's words, my face burned instantly. Finally, the meal ended, and my dad took us home. Back when he'd bought the house, he'd deliberately chosen a neighborhood opposite Uncle Shen's to make communication easier. Now he was filled with regret. That old fox, that little punk, how dare they set their sights on our Yu. But all I could think about was Wen Shai's words. Does he like me? Is he going to pursue me? Should I play a little hard to get? To be honest, compared to being in a relationship, I prefer this ambiguous, fluttery feeling. Who understands? Seeing his messages, I squirmed on my bed like a silkworm. Wen Shai's and I kept things ambiguous for a long time. Neither of us made a move to clarify things. Bored on the weekend, I went shopping alone and, as luck would have it, ran into my ex-boyfriend. Even though I pulled my hat low, trying to make myself invisible, he still walked over. Jo Mu, arm in arm with Suning, greeted me openly. Yu, long time no see. How have you been lately? I just smiled awkwardly. Jo Mu and I were college classmates, the model couple in everyone's eyes. When it came time to talk about marriage, Jo Mu suddenly had a childhood betrothal sprung on him. They insisted on being together. Joe's mother threatened to take her own life if he didn't comply. In the end, they even wanted me to be part of Jo Mu's harem. Later, I learned that Jo Mu's family had been in business for generations, and their operations were massive. How massive, I wasn't entirely sure. According to Su Ning and Joe's mother, I wasn't good enough for him. Almost all the male elders in his family had harems, and his mother turned a blind eye to it all. After all, their marriages were all arranged for family alliances, with huge interests at stake. I quickly and cleanly broke up with Jo Mu. I didn't have the capacity or the tolerance for that kind of life. Jo Mu was reluctant, but there was nothing he could do. You can't fight fate. Truthfully, our feelings weren't that deep. It was just that everyone in school said we were a good match. Plus, we were introduced by our professor, so it felt awkward to decline. Looking back, the fact that I could cut ties so cleanly probably meant I wasn't deeply in love. I've been doing well. When Suning saw me, her eyes seemed to hold daggers, aimed straight at me. She kept urging Jo Mu to leave. Sang Yi, we're getting married next month. Don't forget to come to our wedding. Then she flaunted the pigeon egg-sized diamond on her finger. Oh, and I'm pregnant. Don't try to come between us. Suning was pregnant? I ignored Suning and prepared to leave after saying goodbye to Jo Mu. Suning seemed displeased and started mocking me. You nouveau rich types always think you can climb up to a golden phoenix. What a pipe dream. Right, Amu. Before I could respond, a familiar voice came from behind me. Golden phoenix. Where's the golden phoenix? I don't see a phoenix. Just a bitch yapping non-stop. It was Wen Shai's. Sis, you're amazing, you can even understand dog language. Then he took my hand firmly. Su Ning's face turned pale with anger. She tried to get Jo Mu to back her up, but he didn't even look at her. Where did you pick up this pretty boy? Shameless. Sis. She's insulting me. Wen Shai's deliberately put on a pitiful, wronged expression. How could I stand by and let this soft, cute guy get bullied? Old and new grudges boiled over, especially remembering the slap she once gave me. I slapped Suning across the face clean and swift, without hesitation. Suning's cheek instantly flushed red. Tears welled in her eyes as she looked pleadingly at the man beside her. Wen Shai's feigned concern and said, "Did it hurt your hand, sis? What kind of dog is she? Her face is so hard." As soon as the words fell, someone's unleashed Pomeranian came charging toward us, barking fiercely. It was as if it was saying, "Don't touch me." Wen Shai spread his hands and said with a laugh, "Well, now it's been expelled from the dog community." Suning wanted to say more, but Jo Mu pulled her away. Before leaving, Jo Mu said they would hold their wedding abroad and settle there permanently, never returning to the country again. I stared blankly at his retreating figure, lost in thought, and didn't notice Wen Shai's resentful little gaze. "Sister, do you still like him? Sister, can you like me instead?" As he spoke, he quietly tugged at the hem of my clothes. I turned around, stood on tiptoe, and gently kissed Wen Shai's lips. They carried a faint hint of mint. Softly, I said, "Okay." Wen Shai froze in place, muttering something under his breath. I poked his arm with my finger, and only then did he snap out of it. "Sister, did you just agree to be my girlfriend?" "Yes." I agreed. "But I'm not ready yet." Wen Shai quickly explained, "Sister, that's not what I meant. I meant I haven't prepared a confession ceremony yet. My heart finally settled back in my chest. When Shies asked me no less than 10 times if I still like Joe Moo. Only after hearing me say no 10 times did he break into a priceless smile. Even if sister still likes him, it's okay, as long as there's a place for me in your heart. I smiled and explained to him that the reason I had been staring at their retreating figures was simply because there was something I couldn't figure out. Back when we were discussing marriage, we had taken premarital checkups, and Joe Moo was told he could never have children. So how could Su Ning be pregnant? Their circle is messy, sister. Don't overthink it, Wen Shai said, gazing intently at me as he brushed aside my bangs. His thumb gently stroked my forehead before he planted a kiss there. I looked at Wen Shai's and nodded. Whoever's child it was, it had nothing to do with me anymore. Even though I told Wen Shai's he didn't need to prepare a confession ceremony, he insisted, saying he wanted to give me a sense of ritual. I want everyone to know that I'm sister's boyfriend, he said, ruffling my hair right after. And so, as if under a spell, I let him take me to Yingyu Square. Lit candles were arranged on the ground to spell out love you, surrounded by bouquets of roses so abundant they felt engulfing. Wen Shai stood amidst a sea of roses with a guitar, softly humming a love song. More and more people gathered, slowly forming a circle around us. Holding a bouquet of roses, Wen Shai walked toward me. Sang Yid, will you be my girlfriend? The crowd erupted in excitement, chanting in unison, say yes, say yes. Even though this was a rehearsed script, I found myself inexplicably moved in that moment. I do. As soon as the words left my lips, fireworks shot into the sky. Watching the blue fireworks above, I felt a strange sense of familiarity. Before I could process it, Wen Shai pulled me into his embrace. The crowd chanted, kiss, kiss. Wen Shai, beaming with joy, leaned close to my ear and whispered, sister, I'm going to kiss you now. He held me tightly, and after a long, tender kiss, my face flushed with shyness. The onlookers were thrilled, all recording the moment on their phones. The next day, Wen Shai's confession video became a trending topic. The caption read, mysterious man spends a fortune to confess his love. I only found out when Pei Sheng called me. At the exact moment I said I do, every billboard in the city displayed photos of us together. Hearing this, my mind went blank. Wasn't this a bit too much? But Wen Shai acted as if it were nothing. I want the whole world to know I belong to sister now. Isn't that okay, sister? Well, I suppose it was okay. Aside from the viral confession video, Wen Shai's private account was also exposed. It was named Handbook of Secretly Loving Sister and documented every detail of his crush on a girl named Sang Yua. Because of a small promise from their childhood, he had fallen for her, but she seemed to have forgotten. He never dared to confess until the girl got into a relationship, broke up, and returned to the country, finally allowing him to win her over. He would secretly return to the country every year just to catch a glimpse of her. Once the notes were exposed, they exploded across the internet. The comments section was filled with screams of excitement. Watching other people's love stories is so sweet. I am so shameless. I read the whole thing. Wen Shai was overjoyed, sticking to me like glue every day. But even happier was my dad. I finally realized why those blue fireworks looked so familiar. They were a new variety developed by our family's company. Thanks to the viral confession video, my dad opened an account to sell the same type of fireworks, and sales skyrocketed. All warehouses sold out, orders poured in urgently, and workers rushed to meet the demand. The old man's scheming was practically written all over his face. If he weren't so stingy, I suspect he bought the trending topic himself. My dad's attitude toward Wen Shai also did a complete 180. He affectionately called him future son-in-law and invited him over for dinner every day. Even more absurdly, he made Wen Shai the brand ambassador for our company, hosting live sales sessions. During the live stream, my dad grinned from ear to ear as he introduced him. Hello, everyone. This is our brand ambassador and my future son-in-law. The comments instantly went wild. What a global example of a good man. Uncle Shen, not to be outdone, pulled me into his company to serve as their brand ambassador, also hosting live sales. He boldly introduced me to the audience, alongside a series of my glamorous photos. Hello, everyone. This is our brand ambassador and my future daughter-in-law. The comments exploded once again. Hello, sister. Does placing an order come with a brother-in-law? Thankfully, we didn't disappoint. Orders surged, and I successfully became the internet's big sister. When my dad saw the momentum shifting toward the Shen family, He gritted his teeth in frustration and immediately produced a romantic vlog of Wen Shi's and me, posting it on the company's official account. Not to be outdone, Uncle Wen launched a romantic memorial blog. Of course, I was the unlucky one tasked with managing it. My dad even boldly declared that our wedding would be live-streamed in its entirety. If Aunt Wen hadn't stepped in to stop it, this farce might have continued. My dad said it was no longer just about the interests of the two companies, but a matter of personal honor and pride, a battle of male ego that absolutely could not be lost. After all, a man must never admit defeat. After things settled down, Wen Shai suddenly asked if I wanted to meet his brothers. I thought about it for a moment and nodded in agreement. As soon as I arrived, a group of freshly graduated young men started calling me sister. I'm not sure if Wen Shai's face darkened, but my vanity was definitely greatly satisfied. How many times have I told you to call her sister-in-law? Why haven't you remembered yet? Wen Shai pulled me into his arms as if asserting his ownership, his fingers gently rubbing my palm. It felt ticklish, and I couldn't help but smile. The crowd's teasing grew louder. Some even whistled at us. Brother-in-law. Got it. Brother-in-law. Next time, we'll still call her sister, but we'll reluctantly call you brother-in-law. Li Fei, who wore glasses, patted Wen Shi's shoulder meaningfully. Brother-in-law, how did you get so weak in such a short time? Did you just come back from the Joyous Union sect? Wen Shi's expression changed instantly, and he gritted his teeth. Stay away from me. I asked Wen Shi's what the Joyous Union sect was. The group just smiled without answering. Li Fei told me to look it up on Baidu. Just as I opened my phone, Wen Shi's took it from me. Phone confiscated. Let's eat first. I glared at him, signaling him to return it. Wen Shi's immediately changed his expression. Sister, let's eat first, okay? I'll tell you after we finish, okay? His voice was so soft, paired with that face of his, I couldn't possibly refuse. I could only sit down beside him. You, the soreness of love. Amidst the crowd's teasing, Wen Shai was forced to drink quite a bit. While he wasn't paying attention, I fished his phone out of his pocket. Using a trip to the restroom as an excuse, I quickly looked up what the Joyous Union sect meant. After reading about it, my face burned with embarrassment. I should have known better than to look it up. After touching up my makeup, I returned to the private room. Wen Shai noticed my damp hands and without a word, grabbed a tissue from the side. He wiped my hands dry, first the palms, then the backs, not letting go even after they were completely dry. Only after another round of teasing did he finally release my hands. Li Fei started leading the banter. Brother-in-law, my hands are wet too. The crowd immediately extended their hands, demanding that Wen Shai wipe them dry. Brother-in-law, hurry up and dry them for me. Wen Shai shot them a dark glare and simply tossed the tissue box over. Wipe them yourselves. I only wiped sister's hands due to Wen Shai's poor performance. He ended up being forced to drink even more. Once drunk, Wen Shai leaned against me, burying his head in my shoulder. Thankfully, Li Fei drove and dropped us off at home. The seaside house was originally intended as our marital home, but we ended up moving in early. Wen Shai didn't cry or make a fuss, he just lay quietly on the sofa. I had intended to make him a hangover soup, but he suddenly grabbed me. Softly, he nestled into my arms, murmuring, I don't want to hug gold bricks. I just want to hug sister. I'm baby's little puppy. I'm sister's puppy dog. How could anyone resist this? I wondered who taught him these things. A handsome guy, 185 centimeters tall, snuggling in my arms and acting cute. Just thinking about it made my heart race and my face flush. The next morning, I woke up to find myself in the bedroom bed but saw no sign of Wen Shai. I followed the sound toward the bathroom. To my surprise, the bathroom was entirely transparent. Water droplets on his face, his Adam's apple, chest muscles, abs, and further down. I had seen every inch of Wen Shai. I stood there dumbfounded, swallowing hard. Wen Shai walked toward me with a towel and covered my eyes. Still dripping wet, he hugged me tightly and gently blew into my ear. Sister, have you seen enough? I could clearly feel his breath against me. Why is the bathroom designed like this? And you didn't even close the door. Wen Shai ruffled my hair and laughed. In the future, it'll be just for sister to see. Hearing his ambiguous words, my ears burned with embarrassment, especially with his scorching body pressed against me. I quickly excused myself to fetch clothes from the walk-in closet to escape. Sister, take your time. No one's going to eat you. Looking at the clothes in the closet, neatly organized by color, I didn't know where to start. So, I asked Wen Shi's what color clothes and belt he wanted. Sister can decide. After all, I'll be wearing them for sister to see from now on. What kind of talk is that? I felt like I was about to lose control, like I was on the verge of a brain hemorrhage. Our wedding was scheduled for early summer the following year, mainly because I didn't want my dear bestie to freeze to death. Since it was a traditional Han wedding, the layers upon layers of clothing weighed me down until I could barely breathe. Especially the crown on my head, which cost as much as a house. I felt completely drained. The entire day was filled with intricate rituals, and my face ached from smiling so much. All because my dad had to fulfill his earlier promise. The entire wedding was live-streamed. Not to be outdone, Uncle Shen also hired someone to provide live commentary throughout the ceremony. 8 cameras clicked and whirred around Wen Shi's and me, and I maintained a perfect 8-tooth smile the entire time. The comment section was flooded with blessings and virtual rockets. My dad's grin stretched so wide it nearly reached the back of his head. The comment barrage went wild. Sister is so beautiful. Brother-in-law is so handsome. Blessings. Lock them in forever. My love-addled brain is growing. So sweet. So sweet. Kiss, kiss. Wen Shi symbolically kissed my lips and whispered in my ear, I really do love sisters so much. As soon as he said that, the comments section exploded. The screen was flooded with messages. We want to see the paid content. The 2 companies immediately listed their new products, which sold out in no time. The netizens were thrilled, but Wen Shi's and I were utterly exhausted. The happiest of all were undoubtedly my dad and Uncle Shan. On our wedding day, both companies live-streamed sales. Even the overstocked inventory was completely sold out, and both companies made a fortune. Even the employees' year-end bonuses grew significantly. On our wedding night, Wen Shi's and I stared at each other awkwardly. I stumbled over my words, unable to articulate clearly. Eventually, I simply hid under the covers. Wen Shi's footsteps slowly approached. My heart raced faster and faster, as if it were about to leap out of my chest. Wen Shi's pulled me toward him and kissed my collarbone like an adorable puppy. His voice was tender and lingering. Sister, are you ready? His eyes were innocent and clueless, making it impossible to imagine what he was implying. I'm scared. Don't be scared. Wen Shi's gently flicked my forehead, his eyes filled with affection. He reached out and turned off the bedroom light. By the moonlight, I could only make out his silhouette and the faint rustling sounds. What happened later, I can no longer remember. Only Wen Shi's repeated murmurs of sister. We'll be happy together forever. I believe we will be happy together forever.